Once you have finished kind of the background with the chalk, then we're going to go back into the foreground, which is kind of at the very bottom of our painting. It's the things that are closest to us. And we're going to add in just some traditional kind of native plants like prickly pear cactus or cholla cactus. The saguaro cactus is kind of the iconic plant of the Sonoran Desert. You could do things like a barrel cactus, the ocotillo plant, and maybe even some smaller kind of animals or things into the landscape. You're gonna have a choice if you'd rather do paint or colored pencil, or you could do a little bit of both. The only tricky thing with this is just that it's gonna be kind of hard to draw something and then erase if you need to, just because the chalk will get erased as well. So sometimes some very simple cactuses are just the easiest thing to do. They use very basic shapes like lines and small ovals, and you can even paint those very easily without needing to draw them first. I'm going to paint a couple saguaro cactuses in my landscape. So I'm going to use my tempera paint. I'm going to find a decent sized brush. When I pull it out, I don't want it to be super wet. I want to dry it off of the sponge so it's not kind of watering down my paint. Again, I'm going to start at the bottom, and when things are in the foreground, they look very large because they are close to us. So I actually want my cactuses to kind of extend up and almost past my mountains into my sky. That's how close they are to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this kind of darker green. I'm just gonna start painting a saguaro cactus by going straight up, just kind of a straight line up my paper. If my brush is looking dry and scratchy, then I probably just need a little bit more. Now, I probably don't want my cactus to be stick thin, so I'm gonna go back and just kind of make it a little bit thicker, just kind of round the top out and just bring kind of another straight line back. And reloading that brush several times is really gonna help me out with making sure that my lines don't look super scratchy. I'm then gonna go ahead and get just kind of a smaller arm. So I can just start by just painting a curved line up. And then once I have that curved line up, I'm just gonna go back and just make it a little bit thicker. I'm gonna do the same thing. Usually it looks best if it's not directly in line with this one. Either go a little higher or go a little bit lower if you're doing another arm. And you can really do as many arms as you want to on these cacti. I also kind of like to blend colors, so I'm gonna clean this off and dry it off, but I might also go ahead and throw a little bit of that lighter green and kind of mix it right on top of my darker green. Sometimes that looks nice to kind of have it mix on my paper. And something else that you can do that looks really neat is you can also create kind of the texture within the saguaro cactus by making sure you have a nice thick layer of paint on your paper, and then you can take the back side of this paintbrush. If I just drag down, it kind of creates this sgraffito technique where it's kind of dragging away some of that paint and it's revealing the colors that are behind. This only works if your paint is thick enough and wet enough. So if it started to dry, it's not gonna scratch away. And notice mine are not perfect. It just kind of gives it a neat little texture to the cactus. And I can always take this and just kind of wipe it on my sponge if I'm done doing that. If you're wanting to go back and add any kind of drawn in details and you've added paint, you can wait for the paint to dry, or if you're able to kind of squeeze in any of those details while it's still wet, that is fine too.